Okay.
Very much a juggle. And we might feel like we're stagnated in our results or our progress. And I invite people, like if you start monitoring your HRV, you'll be able to start to see the trends of how you're showing up emotionally. And even I'd go as far as say spiritually and physically will be largely impacted. And the correlation between the two is remarkable. Like I know on days where I have a really low HRV, it means I probably didn't sleep well the night before. So I'm under recovered. The last thing I'm going to do if I'm in that higher state of stress, not rested, I'm not going to go and do a CrossFit or an Olympic lifting workout because it's way too much of a nervous load for me. And I know it's going to make things worse, not better. And so again, I've learned how to really look at HRV and make certain physical changes or intentional changes on the day-to-day based on that number. Joe Dispenza, along with a lot of other thought leaders in this space, are really speaking highly of this HRV and becoming much more aware of what it means for us individually. And this is like accessible to everybody, right? Like this is not like some magical pill that I'm just trying to sell you.
And that's what's interesting. Like do some of this work. You got to do it yourself and try some of these things. But it's almost like you do blood work. It tells you a snapshot of time that day that you took the blood. HRV could be that baseline to say, there's something going wrong. Otherwise, okay, I had a full night's rest. My diet's been okay, whatever it might be, but there's still something wrong that it might be a relationship fix, a communication you need to have. There might be something else. Then you can go and maybe reverse engineer to figure out how to feel better. Well
said, Amber. That's exactly correct. And the nice thing is once you start to understand your nervous system and the effect of stress, especially stress that goes unmanaged, like that chronic stress. I mean, it was World Health Organization back in, I think it was around 2015, 2016, had this huge press conference. And they were saying, you know, the pandemic of our generation is chronic stress. And so it's a very front of mind situation. Now we've heard of it, but do we really understand what that means? And I think that's where there's a disconnect, you know, and unless people start to look at their own systems and monitor their own day to day and how their body's responding to the things that they're actually doing or not doing. You know, you can become much more self-aware and actually do things with greater intention and confidence that it's actually going to work. When you look at these regrets and you look at that comparatively to these people that are living into their hundreds and thriving, you start to wonder, well, why is such a disparity between those 2 points? And it largely has to do with lifestyle and some of those other not necessarily measurable aspects that I shared with you, like the community piece, the connection piece, you know, the passion and the reason to get up every morning piece.